This contest for C programming introduction, we're going to discuss about variables in C. First, let's create a source file. I'm using DevC Plus as my IDE. Now, let's create a small program. First of all, when you are doing a C program, you need to include this stdio library. Include stdio.h, and we need a main function in order to start the program. And voila, it's done. Now let's see. First, let's see whether it prints a value first. Let's say starting. Wait, for file semicolon, and we need to provide this scanf function here in order to stop the program from closing. And let's save the file. I'm going to save it on the desktop. I'm going to name it as second testing variable var.c. Change it to this for C as well. Save it and let's run the program. When you are running the program, first you have to compile then run. I mean, we could use this compile and run at the same time. So let's click this button, and it's working. Now let's see what we can do with this program. First, let's introduce the variable types. In C, first of all, you need to know how to comment in using C language. You can use 2 slashes and comment. When a comment is made, it will not be compiled. It will be ignored by the compiler that is used in C. If you want to comment out multiple lines, you need to use this syntax. In between, you can type whatever you want and it will be ignored by the compiler. Make sure about that. Now let's ignore these parts. We don't really need this in the coding. Let's see how many types of variables in C. Usually there are 3 types. I'm going to comment this because I'm lazy to type it on the notepad. Int, double, float, char. These are the types I believe we can use in C. Let's demonstrate. Let's declare some variables. When declaring variables, there are particular rules that you need to follow. Some of them I have already noted down in this note. It's very basic stuff. You need to have a character or a letter or an underscore at the beginning of letter. These are some of the things you should keep in mind. I'm not going to explain all of this. You can just read those stuff. I may put this in the description of the video if you really want that. Let's first, let's say I want to declare. First, when you are using a variable, you need to declare it in C language. First, this particular variable that I'm going to declare, it's going to be integer. So int, the variable name that I'm going to use is num1, number. And the second variable, I can simply do like this in num2, in num3, and use these values to get a new value in total or sum. Let's let's calculate this value. Let's get the sum of this value. Since it's been already declared here, I don't really need to tell the compiler that is sum is an integer value, so I could just simply say sum num1 num2 plus num3 and semicolon, and let's print this, print the sum, print let's print the sum. Sum, and let's compile and run. Okay, there's a problem. And why? Yeah, there's an error. If we compile this, we got this 9. So this is a random odd number. We don't know where this number came from because The reason is we haven't initialized this value. So in order to initialize this value, you could type 23 for this, 34 for this, 615 for this, and then when you compile and run it, say 72, let's see whether it's right or not. 3 4 7 12 12 1 3 6 7, yeah, it's correct. I don't know where the 96 is, which will I will explain it in an upcoming video. For now, let's focus on this. So you can provide. You might wonder how the meaning of this statement. In this statement, you want to print out the sum. Sum is an integer. Integers are represented in using D. So when there is a D and this inside curly braces, you have when you want to output an integer value, integer variable using printf, you need to provide it as inside this double quotation with percentage mark and D, then add a comma of following the double quotations, then add the variable name, and it will print out. You can manipulate this print into looking more pleasant, like this printer. Let's say the sum is, and then D comma sum. Let's print out. Wait, there is an issue. Let's say syntax error before yeah, semicolon is missing. Now let's try. Yes, the sum is 72. And you can also make this even much more fancier using this method printf. Let's say the I won't display it as a calculations E plus D equal D. And to display this num Now you need to provide these values in sequential manner, otherwise it won't work. Num1, num2, 3, and then at last sum, semicolon. Let's run the program, press F9. Yeah, it shows the values are doing well. Looks more appealing now. Yeah, likewise. Let's assume that you want to print these values like this. Let's say the number 1 is, say, t. Afterwards you need to say the number 2 is d. The number 3 is A. In C, you can make the lines in multi-line. You can write statements multi-line because it's used the semicolon. Number 3 is D. Hence, the sum is like this. Let's delete this thing. Oh wait, we don't need to delete. Sum is, let's say sum is like this. Let's now if we print out, there will be an error. Yeah. We need to provide for each of these values their respective variable. For now, this requires num1. Okay, this requires num2. Okay, this requires num3. Okay, and this requires each of them requires their own respective nums. Let's say I think there's a problem here. Oh well, let's just ignore this. We need to copy this and let's see whether it works or not. Yeah, let's see. missing terminating character, token character. There is some issue. See, yes, the issue was when using the C, you cannot go to multi lines in the string statements, because if you do that, there will be an error. But you can do this here, it will work fine. There won't be an issue. Let's run this line again. Yep, it works. But this looks not very nice. It looks quite a bit clunky and ugly. So let's change a bit. For I want, after the number one is this statement, I want a new line, which means that I want to break from this line to another line. We'll see it at the end of the product. Let me demonstrate it first. You can see what I'm saying. Yeah, you can repeat the process. Yeah, we can use this and display it quite nice. Likewise, yeah, the number one is 23, the number two is 34, the number three is 15, hence the sum is likewise. So, and as I've shown you, we can easily. Now we've been discussing about the integer values. What about the double, the float values? They're quite a bit similar to that. Let's demonstrate it as well. For now, let's say for the double values, let's for the first value, I'm using double x. And what is double x? Let's assign both values int y. When let's print this, let's initialize these values. X will be initialized as 3. Yeah, and let's print the x value. Just ignore these parts, we don't really need. I'm going to delete, erase this, make it less confused. Print these values, print, and then let's see whether what's it. You need to have curly braces. No, not curly braces, the double quotations, D, and the variable is followed by, let's print it out, compile program. Yeah, says 0. There is a particular issue. Yes, the problem is, I mean, what do you think? This D value is to display integers, not to float to double values. If we want to display float values, we need to use F. Let's try it again. Save the file, compile and run. It says 3, and you can see there are there is a decimal point in this now. The reason is double values or float values are used to represent decimal values. For example, if you want to display 0.14, you can use this, display that particular value. But this is not the case with integers. Let's demonstrate why. Let's comment this line because we don't need to print it. Let's initialize the y as 5 first. Let's see whether it prints or not. Mind your semicolons. Yeah, and let's say it's now 5.8. will only display as 5. The reason is it ignored this part. It cannot, because it cannot display this part. But if it changes to let's say float, I mean, you can use the double as well, but in this case let's float and change this D to F. It will display without an issue 5.8. This is for integer and double float values. And let's see about the char values. Char values are used to display particular character using your keyboard. Let's say char equals to, when you are initializing char values, let's say char, I want to add a grading system, grade, and inside single quotation you can provide grade. I'm going to type this as grade 1, right? Char grade 2, let's say B, and I want to display this values, printf grade. Now in this case, to display char values, we are going to use C because we go character, and for this value grade 1 semicolon, let's print out. We're going to display A. Let's change it. We're going to display B. Let's change this a little bit complex. The grade 1 is this, and a new line, then the grade 2 is, say, grade 1, grade 2, compile the program, and say the grade 1, another space. Yeah, it works. And this is pretty much it. If you have any question, please make sure to comment down below, and thank you for watching.